What's up guys, the Lazy Goldmaker here with another video. In this one I'm gonna go through the two operations. I've written a post about this, the two TSM operations, Tradeskillmaster operations, that will carry you through 90% of the stuff that you want to sell. You'll make some changes for some markets, but these are the basic like pricing settings that will work really well across just a wide variety of items. So let's dive in and take a look at them. So this is my operation list. You'll see I have an absolute, well, a monstrous amount of operations that I've built up over the years. But we'll look at the first one, which is for crafted items. Any crafted items. You'll see I'll have a bunch of different ones here, but they all look very similar. They all have some slight variations, but they all follow the same basic formula. This is the one I prefer for almost all crafted items. These are the pricing settings. I have the minimum price set at 120% of the crafting cost. So that's a minimum profit of 20%, which is what I want for my crafting markets. And then I usually have the normal price to 2 times the crafting cost and the maximum price to 5 times the crafting cost. In some markets I'll have it higher, but this one I use this for or some very slight adjustment to this for all crafted items I sell on retail. All crafted items I sell on TBC, pretty much. That's it. Post at min price, you might want to vary this a little bit. For some markets it doesn't make sense to post at min price if the price is too low. If the deposit cost is high and the sale rate is low, then you might want to keep them in your bags. But that's it. And then you'll make some copies of this with some different, like, okay, so for, say, buff food, you want to post 100, maybe even 1,000, or maybe you want to post 200 if you're crafting food. Maybe you want to post those for just 12 hours because they get undercut right away. This one is something that wouldn't make sense for buff foods. Of course, this is something like this specific operation was actually made for flasks in BFA when you had the procs on rank 3s. But that doesn't really matter. I have a bunch of different ones here. Like I can post 5 at 12 hour, 24 hour, 48 hour duration. But specifically like this one, crafting 120. One item for 24 hours. This operation you'll use this, or I think I use this, or maybe a similar one for posting literally it's this one I use. For posting every gear item in the game, pretty much I'll post them with a variation of this. Post that cap to 1. The basics of this operation has remained pretty much unchanged since Legion. I've been using the same setup with 120, 200, 500, or 1.2, 2 times and 5 times the crafting cost. Like there's 0 point in overthinking it. Just have something like this that guarantees you a profit and has a reasonable normal price if the market is empty. I'm sure some of you would prefer to have this higher. If you do, then just put it a higher normal price and just go posting. It works so well. I've never had seen any point in changing this. It's just a fantastic operation. And now this can be invalid. If this is invalid, it means that crafting is invalid. If you get the error message that it's invalid. If crafting is invalid, there are 2 reasons for that. Number 1, TSM doesn't know the recipe. TSM will only learn recipes you have if you open the TSM crafting window, or if you open a profession window. The other reason it could be is that 1 or more materials is missing a valid price source. So as we can see here, Breath of One Samdi is a bind and pickup item. It doesn't have a value here. So anything that's crafted with Breath of One Samdi will have a invalid crafting price source and will not be able to post with that operation. So how do you solve that? Well, you find the material in question, and then you set the value. You can set it to just 1 gold if you want to. You can set it to a hard-coded gold value, or you can use a string. One thing that's often an issue is that if you can't craft the item, this happens to a lot with intermediate materials. like the enchanted lithium bars. If you don't know how to craft them, then many of the items that require those will be invalid. You can just delete this one if it can't be crafted, and then it'll work. So I'm sure we'll have an example down here of expulsum, which I have set a custom price source. Actually, I haven't set a custom price source. I've set a hard-coded gold value at 150 gold, because expulsum is also bind on pickup. So TSM won't be able to evaluate that. Another one that's a culprit here that can be a culprit is vendor materials. They are sometimes the vendor buy price is missing, but that's about it. So that's the crafting one, and then we have one that we want to use for flipping markets as well. So next up, my flipping operation. So this is one that I've been using quite successfully. This specifically is applied to the Island Expedition gear group I have, which means that I'm only going to post one of each. But definitely the flipping operation needs to be tailored to the group or the item you're selling. So for materials, you want to post a lot of materials. For gear, you want to post one off. For, say, consumables, you'd maybe want to post a stack or 2 or 3. 5, it all depends a little bit on the market. But the pricing settings you would want to use in 99% of cases is something that looks like this. So this is going to be the base price. And we'll go through what this exactly does if you're not familiar. So the max function just returns the maximum value inside the parentheses, and then you can add more if you want. So we will, the minimum price is going to be the highest out of either 125% of my average purchase price for that item, or it's going to be half of DB market, of the market value. Now this might seem low to some of you, but it's still pretty high, and I mean, if this is higher than 125% of your average buy, it means you've bought your items extremely cheaply, and you always want to try to get the sale. So the thing here is we're looking for at least a 25% profit over our average purchase price, and we want to sell it for at least 50% of DB market. You can set this higher if you like. It doesn't really matter. It's very rare that this part of it gets triggered. You're almost always using this part. Then the normal and maximum price is just 2 and 5 times that. And I've also increased my DB market a little bit in my normal and maximum prices. I want to eke out, like, if there's no one else on the auction house, I want to make sure I'm a little bit more expensive. And the same for the maximum price. One thing to note with this operation, there's one issue with this, and that's with using average purchase, average buy, if the price has changed significantly. So say the price has decreased significantly since you bought your items. There's no way you're going to make your money back on those items, unless it changes in the future, which is very, very rarely happens. Very rarely happens. Once the air has gone out of the balloon of some market, then it very rarely recovers. So if the price is now much lower than it was when you purchased, there's really not much you can do about it. You really just have to live with it. And this operation might mean that you just keep posting your items at way too expensive prices and you never get the sale at all, which is obviously not what you want to do. So if that happens, then you may want to you may have to post some items manually, or you may have to add that item to a separate group, or you have some other kind of operation where you don't include average buy. You can also do flipping without having average buy in the operation. I've also done that quite a bit in the past. At least then you'll follow the market down. Then if you wanted to do it like that, then you'd want to do something like, let's see if I have it. Yeah, something like this. Then you just want to have market value, 2 times market value, 5 times market value. And you want to make sure you're buying the item up to a maximum of 70%, 70 or 80% of the market value. The nice thing about this operation is that you can really buy at any price and you'll still make a profit, and it will still post for a profit. So say there's only one item available and it's at 90% of the market value, but if it's only one item available and I repost it for 30% more, then within a couple of days the market value will have gone up quite a bit. And I'll might still be able to get the sale because this is an item that people are willing to overpay for instance. So that's the very nice part about this operation, is that it works really well, even for items that you're buying a little bit more expensively. In both cases, I would prefer running a shopping operation that just looks. I'll show you one I have. It's, if this I can finally. You can do something like this: max price 70%, show auctions above max price, so you can get a look at the full auction house. Something like this, very basic. You're buying for 70%, you're trying to sell for at least 25% more. This works really well for it works for Island Expedition gear, it works well for old world materials, it can often work for current content consumables, particularly if you make sure you buy during the weekend and sell on the reset days. It's a bunch of other items that this works for. Really just about figuring out items where there is regular variation in price, and then you can take advantage of that. And with those two basic operation settings, and then you just want to swap one or two settings depending on the market. Like you want to probably want to post 100 flasks on retail. Maybe you want to post a total of 50 potions in TBC across a wide variety of stack sizes. Then you'd need 4 or 5 or 6 different operations with the same pricing settings, but just slightly different durations, slightly different stack amounts, slightly different total amounts posted to the auction house. And it's so easy. You just make a copy of the operation and change the quantity. It's dead easy. There's right here, you just click one, and then there's a copy button right here. And then I want to have one that posts 70, so I change the post cap to 70. Maybe I'll even change the name, so it just says 70 items for 12 hours. This is just how I name my operations when I can remember. You can see that I have a bunch of old operations that don't follow the same scheme, but this makes it easy to understand what the operation is doing at a glance. So that's how easy it is. So yeah, that's it. That was what I wanted to show you. I use these pricing settings have not changed since Legion, and I don't think they'll ever change, because they cover the basic needs of crafting and flipping. The basic need of crafting is to sell the item for more than you paid for the materials. That's it. As long as you're doing that, you're happy. The basic need for flipping is to sell the item for more than you paid for it, and my operation will generally ensure that. And after that, it's more just about posting. Keep posting, keep posting, keep cancel scanning. There's no big secrets outside of this. Like, you don't need any fancy settings. Fancy settings can be useful, don't get me wrong. I have some more complicated and advanced strings that I use for some items. But 90% of my items are posted with these settings. And that's probably also where 90% of my gold is coming from these kinds of items. It just works. There's no point in reinventing the wheel when we have tried and true setups that have been working for literal years across a wide variety of expansions, auction house infrastructures, the whole 9 yards. Just make settings like this, apply them to your groups, and post your items, and then make some changes if you feel like something isn't working out, and then just keep going. That's it. That's what I wanted to show you. Now, if you enjoyed this video, make sure you leave a like, comment down below. Well, not a like this, a like this. Yeah. Leave a like, leave a comment down below, subscribe to the channel. If there's something else you'd like me to take a look at, or something you're interested in how I'm approaching things, then let me know. And we'll see you on the next video. Goodbye, guys.